A very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss about the application of GIS in natural resource management. Okay, so natural resource management is one of the you can say the current burning topic in the world. Most of the natural resources are decreasing day by day, like forest, water, and other natural resources. They are decreasing day by day. We have to work on the sustainable management of natural resources so that the natural resources which is available today will also be present for the future generation. So GIS remote sensing helps for such kind of activities. GIS remote sensing, GPS, or you call it as a geoinformatics. Geoinformatics is an efficient tool for natural resource management. So today we will see the application of GIS in natural resource management. So this is the overview of today's lecture. We will see first what are the problems in natural resource management practices. Then we will discuss some basics of GIS and how GIS is useful for natural resource management. And there may be some examples of the application of GIS in natural resource management and how we can use GIS in education sector. So this is the overview of today's lecture. So first I would like to start with the problems in natural resource management. Okay, why it is required to work on natural resource management? Because as we know that climate is changing day by day. Okay, so there is a habitat loss. Habitat loss means the natural environment for the living space is now having some danger. Habitat means the environment surrounding you. Like we are the human, we are living in some, you can say, we are living in some space where we are having water, we are having some air, oxygen, and other vegetation and agriculture. The habitat loss means the surrounding area of living organism is at the danger. They are having negative consequences of the changing climate. So the current problem in natural resource management includes habitat loss, exotic species. Species means some species are at the extinction. Means some species are going to going to extinct within few years. So there are some species are at danger. They are going to be vanished within few years or within few time. Second is unsustainable resource use extraction. We are extracting or we are using natural resources at a very fast rate. We are over exploiting the natural resources. Like suppose in case of water resources. Okay, so we are extracting water from the underground at a faster rate in respect to the rate of the recharge of underground water. Okay, so natural resources are extracting at a faster rate. Terrestrial, aquatic, and atmospheric pollution. Pollution is also a problem for the human life or any kind of living organism or any kind of you can say the life on the earth. Pollution is affecting the terrestrial life, aquatic life, and atmospheric pollution is there. Terrestrial life means all the living things or all the living organisms living on the land surface, that is known as terrestrial ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem or aquatic life, like the animals or some living organisms who lives in the sea and oceans. Atmospheric pollution is an important issue in the natural resource management. Climate change, you have heard the word name climate change many times. Climate change is affecting the weather condition. Climate change is affecting the rainfall pattern, rainfall trend, and climate change is also responsible for this you can say the pollution to the air quality, water quality. Soil is also having degradation. So these are some climate change effects. Population growth. Okay, population growth is also a important issue in natural resource management. With the growing population, with the growing number of people living on the earth, they need water, they need food, they need some living space. Because of this rapid population growth, there is a rapid urbanization on the earth surface. Okay, that causes some serious problems to the natural environment. They are causing some problem, some danger to the water quality, air quality. Okay, So these are some factors, these are some current problems that can lead to the affecting the natural resources. Natural resources are available on the earth surface, but we are exploiting the natural resources at a faster rate at the normal use. So that if we will not manage our natural resources, if we will not use the conservation strategies for the natural resource management, so definitely it will be finished within few years. So we need to work on the conservation of natural resources by uh, applying the sustainable development goals, by applying the sustainable development practices. Okay, so we should also having some management system only with the high quality data analysis. For natural resource management, we are required to have good quality data sets. Then we can analyze the data set and we can design some management practices. We can design some management for the natural resource management. And the problems are very complex. Natural resource problems are very complex. And all the issues related to the natural resource management are very complex because the interaction between different organism, or the interaction between the natural environment and the living organisms on the earth surface is very complex. So if the problem is complex, so definitely the solution is also likely to have complex solution. So we need to have some powerful tools, and that powerful tools can be provided by remote sensing, GIS, and GPS technology. Okay, but if we are using some advanced techniques, GIS, remote sensing, GPS, so definitely we should have good professionals. We should have capable professionals. We should have good skilled workers working on that topic, working on that tools and techniques. Okay, so for that, GIS education is also crucial. The education of GIS is very important to prepare or to produce some capable professionals so that they can use GIS remote sensing technique for sustainable management of the natural resource management. Okay, so it is very important to see here, although the problem is very complex, natural resource management, the problems related to the environment, the problems related to the you can say the natural habitat is complex, but we are having remote sensing, GIS, and GPS technology. It's a very powerful tool to solve all the problems related to the natural resource management. For that, we need to have good capable professionals, and they are very well trained in GIS and remote sensing technique. Okay, so these are some current issues related to the natural resource management. First, I would like to start with the geographical information system. You have heard the name many times, geographical information system or geographic information system, or you can call it as a geographic information science. Okay, geographical information system is an integrated approach for the capturing, managing, manipulating, analyzing, and displaying the spatially referenced data set. Spatially referenced means all the data sets should have some spatial reference system so that they can represent the real world objects. If your database is able to represent the real world objects with some reference system, then it is known as spatially referenced dataset. So GIS helps to capture, manage, manipulate, analysis, and display of such kind of spatially referenced datasets. These spatially referenced datasets represent any Earth surface feature in the form of point, line, and polygon. If there is a point location data, then you can represent it by point feature. If there are some linear features, then like road and railway line, it can be represented by line feature. If there is closed boundaries, if there are closed boundaries, if there are some area, closed area, then you can represent it by the polygon features. So GIS helps to manage all these spatially referenced data sets, and GIS is an integrated system. It is having multiple components. Okay, GIS is having multiple components. It is having major 5 components like hardware, software, data, people, and methodology or procedure. Okay, so hardware means we should have good computing facilities. We should have computers with high configuration. It should have good RAM. It should have good processing speed. Software, we should have good software so that we can easily analyze and we can easily process the really referenced data sets. Data is also there. Data is also a part of GIS. GIS can deal with both kind of data sets, raster or vector data sets. Okay, raster data sets include some satellite images, aerial photographs. Vector data sets includes the real world data objects in the form of point, line, and polygon. People means the user. Who are the user of your data? When you analyze your spatially referenced data, you will have some results. Who are going to use your results? Who are going to use your work? That is user or people. And methodology. What kind of methodology you are going to use? What procedure you are going to apply? Like in remote sensing, what kind of image processing techniques you are going to apply? How you are going to use different image enhancement techniques, how you are going to use different spatial analysis techniques. Okay, so these are the components of GIS, and all these 5 components are very important for applying geographical information system in natural resource management. Okay, I hope all the things are very well known to you. I'm not going in detail. So geographical information system, or you call it as a geographical information science. Okay, it is started in early 1950s and 90s. Okay, so it is initially it was based on CAD. Then there are some relational database management system, satellite remote sensing, and global positioning system. Okay, CAD is computer aided designing. These are some designing tools. These designing tools are used to prepare some maps. Relational database management system, RDBMS. RDBMS is a kind of database management system that stores all the data sets in the form of tables, that is having some rows and columns. Then with the development of satellite remote sensing, we are having different earth observation data sets from different sensors: LIS3, LIS4, Landsat, QuickBird, Iconos. These are the products, these are the satellite images acquired by different sensors. And now GPS, global positioning system, is very much important for getting the accurate location on the earth surface. It helps you to find the real world coordinates of any object. Okay, so geographical information system also need to have these technologies: CAD, RDBMS, satellite remote sensing, and global positioning system. Okay, GIS also need to have some secondary data sets. That secondary data sets can be provided by some socio-economic survey, from some ground survey, or some other topo sheets are also considered as a secondary data sets that can be used by the geographical information system. Okay, so geographical information system is a technology that may be used to standardize the curriculum. It should have some standardized method and more than simply a technical tool. Okay, and it is having multidisciplinary approach. GIS is based on the multidisciplinary approach, means it different disciplines like forestry, ecology, agriculture, water resource, atmospheric sciences. Okay, physics, statistics. It is based on the multidisciplinary approach, or you can say the interdisciplinary approach, for managing natural resources with the help of geographical information system. Okay, GIS analysis means all the real world objects, or you can call it as a spatial data sets. All the real world objects in the form of point, line, polygons are also known as spatial data sets or spatial features. So GIS treats all the real world spatial features as a combination of geometric primitives and the database records. And GIS analysis, the processing of different spatial data sets using GIS, uses some specialized geometric, mathematical, and relational operators on the basic features or record. Now, it is having different mathematical models. Different mathematical models are used for the image enhancement. It is used for different interpolation techniques. Overlay analysis is totally based on some geometrical features. So GIS also used to analyze and process the spatially referenced data sets or spatial features with the help of different geometric, mathematical, and relational operators on the basic features. That basic features may be in the form of point, line, and polygon. The entire real world objects are stored, are recorded in the form of point, line, and polygons, and GIS can be used to analyze and process that data sets with the help of different geometrical methods, some mathematical methods, and the relational operators. Okay, so now this is the spatial data model or the point features. Okay, when we are going to display point location, when we are going to display some location on the map, so we should have point features. Point is also a kind of spatial data set. Spatial data set means it is having some reference system. All the points which is shown here having some reference system, having some coordinates in the form of latitude and longitude. Okay, so this is one of the spatial data. Point is one of the spatial data that can be used in the geographical information system. Okay, this is the line feature. Okay, all the linear features like streams, roads, railway lines, it can be represented by spatial feature which is known as line. Line is a kind of spatial feature that will be helpful to display or analyze the linear features like roads, railway lines, streams, and other things. Okay, so this is the line feature. It is also a kind of spatial data. Then polygon feature is also a kind of spatial data set. It can be used to represent the closed boundary. Like if you want to display the forest area, if you want to display the agricultural land, if you want to display some glacier area, so we need to have polygon features. So basically the spatial data sets used in the GIS is of three types: point, line, and polygons. So these three things are very much clear to you, and I hope all you know how to use different point, line, and polygon features for different applications in GIS. Okay. Now raster data sets. Raster means the data sets having some pixels. If the pixels are arranged in the form of rows and columns, and each pixel is having some definite pixel values or digital number values, it is considered as raster data set. So can also be used GIS can also be helpful for analyzing the raster data sets. You can also say that raster data sets can also be processed by the geographical information system. So these are some examples of raster data sets. Digital elevation model. Digital elevation model is a kind of raster data set. It helps you to find out the elevation data sets, elevation values of any location, any area. Satellite images. Satellite, you all know what is satellite image. Satellite images are the raster data sets in which pixels are stored in the form of rows and columns, and each pixel having some definite pixel value, or that you call it as digital number value or DN value, brightness value, or pixel value. Okay, spatial data model, like when we talk about spatial features, so raster data set, raster images is also a kind of spatial data model. It means these data sets are also having some reference system. When we are going to use raster images, when we are going to use some satellite images, it is also having some reference system. It is also having some coordinates. That's why it can also be considered as the spatial data model or spatial data feature. Okay, so GIS also supports different kinds of raster data sets, different satellite images, digital elevation models, different aerial photographs. Okay, that can be helpful for analyzing, that can be helpful for managing the natural resource management. Okay, now non-spatial data sets, and in this figure you see these are the forest area, forest land. Okay, the forest classes are represented in the form of different polygon features. Okay, and each polygon feature are having some specific characteristics, specific properties that can be represented in the form of attributes. You call it as a attribute table. Attribute table means it will have the entire information of specific polygon feature, the size of that polygon feature, the type of the forest, how many number of trees in that area, and what is the species, what kind of trees what kind of forest is there. The entire information of each polygon feature are stored in the form of table, which is known as attribute table. And this attribute table can also be considered as the non-spatial data sets. Attribute tables, whatever the data you are observing here, whatever the data is stored in the form of table, which is known as attribute data, or also you can call it as a non-spatial data sets. Non-spatial data sets are the characteristics and the properties of some spatial features. It may be point, line, or polygon feature. So whatever, when we are going to apply GIS for forest resource management, so we have just created the polygon, or the boundary of each forest area. Then we can have the information about what kind of forest is there, whether it is deciduous forest or mixed forest, or what kind of tree species are there, what is the density of the forest land in that area. All this information will be stored in the form of table, which is known as attribute table or non-spatial data set. Okay, so you can also visualize spatial data set in the form of table. Okay, suppose if you want to if you want to know the information about this polygon feature, so when you select this polygon feature, automatically the related data of these polygon features, the polygon features here represented in the form of yellow color. Okay, these yellow colors are having some forest area, and these are selected on the map of the polygon feature, and automatically the related information of these forest area are selected in the table. Okay, that is attribute table. When you select any polygon feature on that data set, that is a forest class, then automatically it will represent you the related information in that table. So using that table, you can have the information about these particular forest patch. This yellow color are having some forest patches. These are some forest patches. When you select a specific forest patch, and related information will be selected in the attribute table or non-spatial data set. So you can have that this is the forest area established in 1800 year, then 1930, then 1935. Means these forest patches are established. These forest patches are uh, they are grown in different years, starting from 1800, 1930, and 1935. Okay, and other information is also there. So this is the way you can use spatial and non-spatial data sets for visualizing or for getting the information about different earth surface features or different spatial features. Okay, spatial referencing in GIS. So GIS can be used to integrate different thematic layers. Okay, if all of your thematic layers, if all of your point, line, and polygon features are having some reference system, so you can integrate multiple layers into the single platform, that is known as spatial referencing. Spatial referencing means, suppose if you are having some point feature, if you are having some line features, if you are having some polygon features, so you can integrate all the point, line, and polygon features into a single platform, that is known as spatial referencing. So here you see there is a first layer, first data set related to stream, then forest, land, soil, digital elevation model, and digital orthophotograph. These are 5 different layers. Means you can also integrate raster data set with the vector data set. Here you see digital elevation model and digital orthophotograph. These are the raster data sets. Okay, whereas the soil type, forest data set, and streams are the vector data sets. So you can integrate raster and vector data sets into a single layer using spatial referencing in the GIS. GIS helps you to integrate multiple layers either in the vector format or in the raster format into the single layer, that is known as spatial referencing, or you can also call it as a integration of different thematic layers using GIS. So in natural resource management, sometimes you need to have different thematic layers. Sometimes you require to have some many thematic layers. So you can integrate all the thematic layers for proper natural resource management in that area. Okay, so GIS and natural resource management. GIS is having efficient method. GIS is a important tool in natural resource management. Nearly all the resource management problems are spatial in the nature or have a strong spatial component. Whatever the natural resource we are talking about, either forest, water, glacier, soil, agriculture, all are having spatial nature, all are having some spatial characteristics. So that's why GIS will be helpful to deal with these spatial data sets. Most natural resources are tied to a particular place, and knowledge of the properties of that place is crucial to understanding of the place. Okay, when we talk about forest, if you are talking about forest, so you need to define the boundary of that forest. So it is a kind of polygon feature. That polygon feature is having some spatial referencing. That polygon feature is a kind of spatial data set. So GIS is very much useful for dealing, for analyzing or processing that spatial features or spatial data set. Okay, GIS is the leading system that can integrate multiple layers, multiple information for storing and analyzing the space related data sets. All the natural resource management organizations are using GIS, either government organizations, some industries, or some NGOs. Multiple organizations are working in the field of natural resource management, and all are using GIS. GIS is a tool to work to deal with the spatial data sets related to the natural resource management. Okay, now you see here, this is the way in which we can use GIS for natural resource management. Okay, so in the figure you can see these are the maps showing the habitat quality. Habitat quality means the environment surrounding a living space. So how a habitat is suitable for a particular species. If you want to work on the conservation of particular species or particular forest type, so you need to work on the habitat quality. You need to assess the habitat quality of that area. So GIS can be useful for managing all the spatial data sets that will be useful for habitat quality assessment. Then you can also have some information about the fragmentation, the canopy gaps. Canopy means the upper surface of the forest. So on the basis of the canopy information, you can have the information about the forest density. Okay, so these are the examples how GIS and remote sensing is helpful for natural resource management by integrating multiple layers. It is not these maps, whatever you are observing here, these maps are not based on the single layers. These maps are based on the integration of multiple layers, multiple thematic layers, or multiple GIS layers, or multiple point, line, and polygon features into the single platform. So it can provide you the comprehensive information about the uh, natural resource management, how it is helpful for working on the conservation of natural resources. Okay, GIS can also be used for ecological research. Okay, it can be used for the it can be used for identifying the rate of the erosion of the soil. Soil erosion can also be studied using GIS. Okay, because soil erosion is a problem that can be the problematic for the agricultural productivity. Soil loss, soil erosion. So how much soil is eroded during a particular time period in case of heavy rainfall or in case of flood. So it can be done by GIS. GIS is very much useful for measuring or for assessing the rate of the soil erosion. That can be helpful for analyzing the impacts of the heavy rainfall or flooding on the agricultural productivity. Okay, so this is another example of GIS in ecological research. Okay, now we can have different management practices, the identification of landscape areas meeting the particular complex criteria. If you have created, if you are having some criteria, like if you want to only represent the forest area which is older than 50 to 70 years, okay, so for that you need to write some expression here in the query box. In the query box of GIS, in the query box of GIS, you can write such kind of expression, and when you run this query, it will show you the forest area only in the map whose uh, age is older than 50 to 70 years. So you will get to know how old is your forest area, which forest area is old, which forest area is new in terms of the plantation of the trees. Okay, so identification of different landscape areas can also be studied using some particular syntax, using some particular query operation in the GIS. GIS also helps you to perform the query that is based on the non-spatial data sets. Okay. This is another example of the identification of landscape areas meeting a complex criteria. Now, if you want to see the forest area that is older than 50 to 70 years and it is near the stream within the 100-meter range, so you have to define two criteria. One criteria will be based on the age of the forest, 50 to 70 years, and which forest area is near to the stream, that is buffer of around 100-meter. Means a stream, the buffer around the area around a stream, it will show you within the 100-meter range all the forest which is having age older than 50 to 70 years. So this is another example of the conservation of forest. This is also another example of the application of GIS in the natural resource management, especially in case of forest area. Okay. Then another example, like which forest is near to the road. Okay, so that these forests can be preserved, these forests can be conserved during the construction of the road. So you need to have three criteria: the forest area which is older than 50 to 70 years, then which forest area is near to the stream, and which forest area is within the range of 50-meter from the road. Okay, so on that basis you can work on the conservation of forest in case of the construction of the roads in that area. It will help you to identify how much forest area will be affected by the construction of road in that area. So this is another example of the use of GIS based query operation on the non-spatial data sets that will provide you the information about the protected forest. It will provide you the information about the protected forest, that is a kind of conservation of natural resources, forest area. Okay, now you can have another example. You can get the information that which forest area is under which slope range. Okay, because slope is directly affecting the soil erosion. Slope is very important factor, so you can get the information about the forest area which comes under the range of the slope, that is 10 to 20%. So it is a kind of management of the natural resource. It is a kind of management of forest area. You can identify the landscape areas that meeting the particular complex criteria on the basis of these four different criteria. 50 to 70-year-old forest, then it should be less than 100-meter to the stream, then it should be greater than 50-meter from the road, and it is having the slope range between 10 to 20-meter, and the slope layer can be generated from the digital elevation model. You are having digital elevation model of that area. Using that digital elevation model DEM data of that area, you can produce the slope map of that area, and then you can integrate the slope map with the other layers of the stream, road, and forest to get the output in the form of required criteria, whatever the criteria is written here. Okay, this is another example of the use of GIS in forest conservation. Okay, identification of the landscape area meeting the particular complex threat. So you will get the desired result, that which area comes under the scenario, whatever you have decided, whatever you have written in the query box of the GIS. Okay. So GIS is very much useful tool. GIS is a efficient technology for natural resource management. So we need to have a skilled person. We need to have skilled manpower in the field of GIS. Okay. So basic skills are required for the person who are working in the field of GIS. The person working in the field of GIS should have good quantitative reasoning abilities. He should be well trained in mathematics and logical thinking. There may be some computing skills is required. Computing skills means the working knowledge of the computers is also required for using GIS in natural resource management. There should be good command of the application and operating systems, and it is better to have some knowledge about the programming languages. So these two are basic skills that is required for a GIS person, that is required for a professional working in the field of GIS. He should be well trained in computing knowledge. He should have good computing knowledge, good computing skills, and also there should be required to have good quantitative reasoning abilities in terms of mathematics and logical thinking. Okay. A few applications oriented GIS in the higher education tracks. Most GIS in the education is geography. Most of the GIS courses are running in the Department of Geography. In the natural resource program often like the applied GIS courses. Okay, so we need to develop curriculum. We need to develop advanced curriculum that needs to have development of the GIS technology. The professors need to integrate GIS into existing curriculum. Okay, existing curriculum means whatever the GIS we are studying today, whatever the geographical information system is now we are working, we are studying today, we need to develop, we need to integrate GIS knowledge in the sustainable development practices. We need to integrate GIS information. We need to have the skills of GIS into existing curriculum of natural resource management, or you can say the different practices that is required for the sustainable development, sustainable management of the natural resources. Okay, so now these are the resources, these are some references used in the preparation of this lecture. You can go through these lectures, you can go through these resources for more information. Okay, ISRI, then University of Washington, and UCGIS, University Consortium of GI Science. University Consortium of GI Science is a consortium, it's an organization who works on the integration of the GIS information from various universities. So you will get the information about the GI science from multiple universities into a single platform. Then GIS education, you can search for the GIS education. USGS is a website. From the USGS website you can download different satellite images, you can download different earth observation data sets. FGDC, FGDC is a federal geographic data committee, it's a national spatial data infrastructure. This is a committee who is working in the development of the spatial data infrastructure for natural resource management or the sustainable management of the natural resources. So these are some resources. So you can go through these resources for more detailed information about the application of GIS in natural resource management. So thank you very much for today's class, and we will meet again in the next class with next lecture. Thank you very much.